quite long break, I know. It's been a few months since the last episode of star types. We talked about star types in that episode. But now it's summer break, and you can expect more space content on this channel. And in this episode, I wanted to talk about asteroid mining. And I recently wrote an essay about asteroid mining, and I also designed a spacecraft, a potential spacecraft to collect asteroids with magnets. So, what do you think about asteroid mining, and what do you think is the importance of this asteroid mining in space research? I want to ask you, Emrullah, and Emrullah is my brother. If you didn't watch the last episode,
Well, I think it's a whole industry untouched with great potential. I mean, don't the average asteroids have twice, three times the gold content on Earth? I don't know. I read that somewhere, but
okay.
I mean, virtually infinite amount of goods just laying out there. I mean, it's hard to extract them, but I mean, if we are able to even get one mining facility on one asteroid, it is like should be a lot financially, and also like it would enable space exploration. No, like if we didn't need to shoot resources up to space, but if we had our resources
Right.
there on space.
Like a renewable source of all types of different metals.
Now, I mean, would you exactly call that renewable? You're just like the resources are there. You're using up resources. I mean, there's virtually an infinite amount of resources, but still.
Yes, it's not renewable technically, but it sort of is, because there is like an infinite number of asteroids in space. So there are a lot of types of asteroids too, of course, not just ones with high metal content. There are also asteroids, C-type asteroids, high in carbon and rocks and silicate rocks, S-type asteroids. So they can also be. The media is always focused on M-type asteroids and just the precious metal content.
Yes, but and what else is there on asteroids to mine, or extract, use? Don't we have plenty of rock here in Earth?
Yes, we do, but there's also water ice on C-type asteroids.
Water, there's like we even have more water than we have rocks on Earth.
Right. On Earth, that's right. But in terms of sustaining a space colony, let's say on a different star, that water ice would be really useful in terms of sustaining a colony in space, or any planet outside of Earth. As we know, water is really rare in space.
I mean, I understand water is rare, but wouldn't it be easier to just ship water from Earth to whatever we're planning, wherever we're going to, instead of
I mean, would it
extracting ice from asteroid and yada yada?
yeah, would it be easier to ship water from a planet 3 light years away, or would it be easier to collect water ice from asteroids?
Oh, you went
near
light
us?
years away. I mean, that's
Right. I mean, the closest star is light years away, 4 light years away, I think. So, yes, in terms of exploration in our solar system, you're right, definitely. The precious metals is definitely the most important thing. It's what we're focused on right now in terms of asteroid mining, and as we should be. They're not these 3 times, even tens of times more platinum in M-type asteroids compared to even the richest platinum mines here on Earth. So those precious metals, gold, platinum, iron, found on M-type asteroids, metallic asteroids, they could be really useful in building spacecraft in space even.
Building spacecraft in space.
Yes.
That sounds very futuristic.
Right. when we don't have a home base like Earth, we could be sustaining a space. We could be sustaining a space colony and building spacecraft in a space station even far from Earth. And the biggest challenge, of course, is collecting these asteroids in space. So, how do you think we can collect asteroids? I'm going to go into the design of the spacecraft I designed for a competition in my school, but how do you think we can collect asteroids and the resources from asteroids?
I don't know, you bring them here to Earth to extract. It might be a little dangerous if the asteroid is too big. I don't know. You
Right,
know,
right.
all this doomsday scenarios where asteroid
Yeah.
crashes into the Earth and ends it all. Would it be safe to bring it over here to Earth? I mean, I know we have pretty precise calculations, but would we even risk such a thing? Another is mining it on space, but that has its own challenges. You know, I would guess, how would we even extract the thing if we don't have gravity, or if we have how much gravity do asteroids have?
Okay, that's a good question.
What size is your average asteroid?
Right, right. I mean, they could vary from like 500 meters, 500 kilometers even, to like 3 centimeters. So it varies a lot, but
How large is Pluto, the planet?
oh, okay. I might have to check on that, but its diameter is I think around the size of Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But
Okay, how large is Australia?
it might be even smaller than that. But I'm just guessing here. We have to look at that. But Pluto is probably not the asteroid we're targeting. The size of the asteroid we're targeting, but the biggest challenge with bringing the asteroids to Earth is the thick atmosphere of our planet. So it's not just the risk of asteroids falling onto Earth, it's just getting past that thick layer of atmosphere. So,
I mean, is that a barrier to, I don't know, bring in gold, platinum? Do they melt in the atmosphere?
I mean, gold, platinum, most of the resources, vast majority of the resources would definitely be burnt if we tried to bring it to Earth without protecting it somehow. And so it would also cost us a lot of fuel if we were to bring it back to Earth. So in the spacecraft I designed, it focused on collecting the collecting the asteroids with magnetic plane. So I designed it was a really simple spacecraft. I designed a magnetic square plane, and that would collect the asteroid, stick the asteroid onto it, and it would have an ion thruster as the motor.
Oh, let's slow down. What is an ion thruster?
An ion thruster it uses electricity to work. It doesn't use hydrogen fuel, as we use on rockets today.
But where
Most
does it get
rockets.
electricity from? Do we burn fuel for that, or any
In
other
in the
engine?
back of the magnetic plane, I also designed solar panels for the spacecraft to collect sunlight and turn that into electricity. So that would that electricity would the spacecraft would use it to use it for the ion thruster. And the ion thruster doesn't use hydrogen fuel, of course. It's a lot cheaper, so it generates its own energy. The spacecraft generates its own energy, and the magnetic plane, the ion thruster is connected to the magnetic plane with four arms, bendable arms, and those arms would bend according to like the shape of the asteroid, so it could bend like a half cylinder to grasp the asteroid firmly. And
But like, would it have enough force? Would it be able to apply a force large enough to move the asteroid? Because I guess it is much heavier than the vehicle itself you designed.
yes, the asteroid would be
Like much more massive than your device. Yes.
so the device would be scalable too. One of the biggest parts of this project and spacecraft is that the device is scalable. So imagine a square plane with like it also has a thickness in the sides. It also has like a thickness depending on the size of the spacecraft, of course, but it's not just like a sheet of paper. It has a bit of thickness so that it also contains magnets on the side of the main magnetic panel. So those magnets on the side would the spacecraft would use those side magnets to connect to other spacecraft. So that way this spacecraft would be scalable. So it could connect to like 1,000 other um, asteroid collectors. So to collect larger asteroids. Of course, like let's say 10-meter version of 10-meter diameter version of this spacecraft, we would not use that to collect a 500-meter asteroid. So we would either manufacture a larger machine or use those side magnets to connect to other spacecraft and have enough power to collect and move a, an asteroid of that size.
I see. And how would you like operate this space station? Would it have the facilities to, uh, make usable resources out of raw materials, or would it just like extract the raw materials and send them off to Earth to be? And how would you even build such a like station up there?
Right. So it's a really futuristic project and spacecraft, of course. So the technical complexity of that is definitely a challenge, and also the costs is also
Yeah, let's talk about the costs, because I mean, as profitable as this looks, probably
mhm.
the you would need to invest lots of resources before you get anything back, and that could take a while. Okay, let me expand it a bit also. Uh, what obstacles do you see before we can actually start mining asteroids? Because I don't think there are any technological barriers, no? I mean, or they can be overcome with the current technological advancement we have. It's just that there isn't enough motivation, and that's just like my perspective, not very informed. But what do you say is keeping us from reaching out and taking the wealth that is floating above our heads or below? I don't know, like below
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people in Australia.
So no, you have a great perspective on it. The technical complexity is like a small part, uh, a small challenge to overcome. The costs and funding is probably holding us back a lot more. So the technical complexity, of course, is it's still not so easy to collect those asteroids or build like a self-sustaining space space station to collect those asteroids and mine those asteroids. But the cost and funding is probably what's holding us back from or holding other space companies back
I mean,
from
you're,
doing a
you're
project
talking
like
about
this.
space companies. Is there not enough incentives for governments to get in on mining asteroids? Will we need to wait for private corporations to like lead the way? Because like as I understand previously, anything like exploring new frontiers was first done by government supported entities, and then came the privatization, private corporations and
Right.
private entities. Like I don't know. Would we need like? Uh, is it not profitable enough in the eyes of the government? Is it? Do they have other priorities? I mean, because they are investing in getting resources elsewhere, like on Earth. Is this just like, or do they not believe in the feasibility of like mining asteroids?
Yes, that's a big question mark. I mean, I'm wondering that too, but uh, private companies, I would expect private companies to jump in on this first, but still,
Gotta make that profit.
right, definitely. But just taking that first step for asteroid mining is what's important. I mean, once we can build a self-sustaining space station where we could collect asteroids with like a magnetic plane I designed, or some
So we're still bringing the asteroids to the space station and not like working on them literally on the asteroid.
oh yeah, that's right. That's also a way of mining asteroids. I talked about that on the essay I wrote. I talked about the two ways of mining asteroids: either collecting the asteroid with like a magnetic panel and then bringing it to a space station or a space facility to for it to be mined, or I also talked about on asteroid mining. So we would mine the asteroid without moving it to a space facility. I imagine um, the first option would be a lot more profitable because we would only be manufacturing simple devices for to take the asteroid and bring it to a space facility, without manufacturing high cost and high tech uh, spacecraft to also mine the asteroid on site. So just bringing them to a large space facility would probably be more cost effective than mining them on the asteroid. That way, we would have to manufacture thousands of high technology and high cost.
Are there any advantages to on asteroid mining, or is it just like not? Is it just inferior to the bringing them to space station?
Yeah, I think they're just inferior. They're we get the resources quicker with the on site mining. That's probably the only or biggest advantage. We get the resources right away.
But if you're investing in asteroid mining, I guess you can.
Yeah, if
like you're a long-term person anyway.
yeah, if we're
so-
investing on a long-term, large-scale asteroid mining mission, the
I guess you can wait whatever the
Right.
difference is.
yes. So I thought that that option would be a lot more profitable. That's why I designed my spacecraft to collect the asteroids with a magnetic plane.
Hmm. I see. And how would like you talk about a sustainable space station?
Right.
How sustainable are we talking? Is it do they grow their own food? Are they entirely independent from Earth, or do they like I don't know? Do they use the resources mined from the asteroids to expand, or we need to like cooperate with Earth to expand the station? Or yeah, I mean, I guess we would have to. And another question: is it based on another planet, moon, or is just like put it in orbit like the ISS?
Yes, that's a good question.
Like a whole bunch of questions
Yes,
in
yes.
whatever order you like.
Preferably, we would be entirely independent from Earth or any celestial body. So preferably, it would be entirely self-sustaining.
But how would you achieve such a thing? I mean, like even in Earth, there are like metropoles, cities with millions of people, and even those aren't independent. You get your food. Even countries are not independent. You get your like potatoes from
yeah, yeah.
such country, your metal from such country, and your I don't know computers from another. Is it like feasible to aim for a full independence this early, or like are there any real advantages?
Yes, yes.
for
We're
that?
not aiming for that in the first stages of asteroid mining, for sure. That's really difficult to achieve, and so we're probably just aiming to make a self-sustaining space station to just mine those asteroids, and not to have like a space colony um, far away from a celestial body like Earth. So that would probably be self-sustaining enough to just self-sustaining enough for an asteroid mining mission, not to have like a civilization there.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I aimed for. But definitely in the future, we could aim for a space colony or habitat that's entirely independent from a planet like Earth, and we could probably only use resources from asteroids, as they're a really vast variety of asteroids and wide array of resources as well, from water ice to silicate minerals, rare earth minerals, precious metals, of course, and we could probably find soil as well. Yes, or we could create soil ourselves
Oh, that would be
with
exciting.
water and rocks.
But would
yeah.
it have like enough nutrients in it to support whatever plants you're planting?
Yes, we would probably have to bring nutrients from Earth in the first stages before creating nutrients, if we want to have a self-sustaining space colony, um, as apart from just mining asteroids.
And okay, I forgot what I was about to say. Let's move on with what
You asked another question too.
yes, quite an important one, I'm sure, but
Okay, okay.
I can't recall.
Okay, you wanna
Let's
repeat
see.
that? Okay, so a self-sustaining space colony. I think you were asking about how feasible that was, and also, yeah, the costs and funding. So
Yeah, funding.
the private space companies are probably just focused on mining the asteroids instead of sustaining a space habitat or a space colony. But just when taking that first step, if you're successful taking that first step and creating like a space station, or it could even be like a space base on a moon or another planet. So it could be on a planet or a moon too.
Would it be safe to have like a base on Moon with all the, like, Moon has lots of craters. I mean, something hit there to make those craters.
Yes, many more can hit the moon. We wouldn't necessarily care about that probably, but
Why? Due to the, like, what if they hit the space base?
oh, right, that's a good question. But when we have the technology to precisely navigate those asteroids and bring it to our space base, we probably have the technology
To deter any that comes
Yes.
over. Okay.
Right.
Still, like, I wouldn't feel very much safe, like, on a moon station.
Yes, probably it's a space habitat apart from the moon, and apart from all the asteroid mining that we do, those would probably have like separate facilities.
So how about like we've talked about how risky it would be. What are some like risks and what are some risks associated with asteroid mining? Blah, 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 blah. Because like anything space exploration related, when something goes wrong, it goes wrong catastrophically.
No, well, I don't see a risk like that.
I mean, like if we have astronauts on board to mine some asteroid and they can't land, they hit the space station.
Okay, probably the space asteroid mining operation would probably be entirely autonomous. We wouldn't have.
Oh.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't have astronauts on board. So that would probably be a really dangerous operation.
Have I been watching too many sci-fi movies?
Yeah, that would probably be a human rights violation, but still. Yeah, so we're looking at a completely autonomous operation there.
I wish they had complete like autonomous operations in like mines on Earth. Yes, people are working in much
definitely, and that's the problem. Taking that first step. Once we have a completely autonomous system, it's extremely profitable. Asteroid mining is just extremely profitable, completely profitable. No financial risks whatsoever once we start mining those asteroids. But taking that first step and losing billions of dollars to...
I'm not losing, investing them. Because you'll get billions and more back.
Yeah, you're investing, but the space companies and the government is probably looking at it more on the losing side, because we're not completely sure if we can achieve that level of self-sustainability. And also,
are we really like uncertain about that? You know, like in 60 years or something, not even 60. But what's the the time difference between the first plane and when we go to the moon?
Oh, okay. It's not much, right?
Like 60 something years, like less than one lifetime. So as a kid, you see the first airplane, and then we're on the moon.
Right.
I mean, as I see it, it's just technical challenges now, and not any like major innovation is needed to actually realize this. Maybe, and if the industry takes off, I think there will be many more innovations that will be induced by the new industry and all the profit it brings, which brings me to like another important question. Mines on Earth are usually someone's property or government property, while the space hasn't been really owned or claimed. No one has claimed ownership over any asteroids yet, as I know of. No one that I know of. So like, how would this work out? Would we like any competition between corporations or even countries? I mean, the United States does have a space force in the military.
Right.
Are we expecting any problems with that? Like, what would be your suggestion or like, how do you think we can peacefully extract these resources? Or is it like...
those regulatory problems are really apparent, and I mean, the technical complexity is probably the smallest part.
Yes, I mean, like, technical... you do it, but
right.
like...
the costs, the funding, and just the regulatory problems as well. That's what's mainly holding us back, probably. And what I think on that...
I mean, like, imagine a corporation goes and mines an asteroid and then declares itself as an independent entity. I mean, like, what kind of a scandal would that be? Like, without a government out there, maybe if it is able to form a self-sustaining thing, or like.
Why would it be a scandal, though?
No, not like, I mean, straight. It would be like I don't know. On Earth, they're subject to some regulations, but
Yes.
out there, they're not. So, if they are based there, I don't know. It's so very.
Yeah.
It's all speculation, but like, let's speculate together. What do you
Right.
think it would happen, or like, okay, first, what direction do you think it would take, like, as is currently, and what direction would you like it to take? Like, first, the what are we expecting, and the second best case scenario, what do you say?
Okay, what are we expecting? I mean, first I want to start on what we're hoping for. So, whoever first gets grasp of the asteroid probably owns that asteroid. I mean,
I mean, like, what
yeah.
if they just start
Whether it be
grabbing asteroids en masse? Like, say I am a country of Emrullah Vania,
You're right.
and I am just a little ahead of you in the asteroid mining race. And what if I just, like, take it all for myself, or like block access, or like, I don't know, I mean, is there really plenty if this takes off? I
Mhm.
guess the, like, main benefit of it, or like the advantage of asteroid mining, is that the resources are just so plenty. So,
Yes.
I mean, would there be competition? I guess there is, like.
There would be competition. One key difference between competition like that for resources on Earth and in space is probably the amount of resources there are. Obviously, there is like an innumerable quantity of asteroids in space. So, um, that's definitely a key difference from competition for resources on Earth and on space. And so, because there are like a seemingly infinite amount of resources in space, we would it would probably be a lot simpler than what we have on Earth right now. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, but definitely, if like a government found like a really precious asteroid with like uh, million tons of platinum and gold, there would definitely a lot more competition on a rare asteroid like that. So yes, obviously we're hoping the best for the development of the industry and space exploration, but that's definitely a big question mark and challenge apart from the technical complexity. That's the easy part, as you said. And once we take that first step, I think, and once we really expand on this industry and governments start expanding on it, I don't really think there would be a lot of competition if um, there is like there's like an infinite amount of asteroids in space. So I don't think it would be uh, that as competitive as competition for resources on Earth, because whoever expands the most in terms of technology and space exploration would get the most asteroids and resources, of course.
I understand. I
Mhm.
think. Okay. That's
Yes.
all very, very interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
like, as I said, the technical part is that, I mean, the, say, regulatory challenges have to be sorted out before we even move on with this thing.
Mhm.
But I guess it's all very exciting.
Yes.
I mean, like, the resources are here on Earth are
Minuscule
used up,
compared to.
and are being used up
Mhm.
day by day.
Yes.
So it's, like, exciting. Do you have any more like subtopics to talk about asteroid mining?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the advantages of asteroid mining because apart from just the precious metals, I think it has a lot of unseen advantages too, or unrecognized. So, planetary defense, for example, we talked about it a lot from the beginning of the episode as you talked about the risks of mining asteroids. But planetary defense is important and it's a great benefit to mining asteroids. Once we get that precise navigation technology, it would definitely be a huge plus when it comes to just during those asteroids that are coming to Earth or a space facility.
Yeah, I mean they did kill the dinosaurs,
Right.
and I mean, what am I compared to a dinosaur? Like
Yes, yes.
a tiny sack of flesh and bone, and also we have like lots more combustible things in our cities, so.
Yes, definitely. So that's a great plus of asteroid mining and just the technological development aspect. Once we get the technology for asteroid mining, it's that on itself is a huge advancement in terms of technology. I mean, it's kind of like a space renaissance. Like a huge new chapter for humanity in space and in terms of science when we start mining asteroids and start self-sustaining colonies or space facilities in space.
Yeah, that's very exciting. How do we understand the like material content of an asteroid? I know they do like color analysis or like other methods. Do you know anything
Ooh.
about that? How do we like let's say in my observatory I am watching an asteroid and I want to know
That's
whether
a
it's-
really high resolution
Well-
observatory you have.
like,
Just watching asteroids.
no,
Right.
and it's like I'm sure that sure looks mineable.
Yeah.
Is it worth mining though? What will I get out of it? Can I be informed about that in any way?
Yeah, definitely a good question. We would probably use the data gathered from satellites and the spacecraft I designed. It also has a sensor. I imagine the lidar sensor, but it could be different sensors
What is the
as
LiDAR
well.
sensor?
A light and range detection sensor.
Yeah, how does it work? Do you know?
So
Or like what does it detect?
So it's used to detect three-dimensional objects and map three-dimensional objects using light, and light and like the distance of the asteroid to the spacecraft. So like, how could I give an analogy to this? Maybe like, how bats like
Oh, like
release sound waves and
this
in terms of
releases light.
this releases light and in term like how bats release sound waves and with the way that object reflects those sound waves, the bat has an like gets a knowledge of how close the object is or the type of object it is. So like it's similar to that, but it's a lot more precise than a bat.
I mean, it has to be.
Yes. When there are spacecraft close by with precise sensors like lidar sensors, we could definitely get a good understanding of the type of asteroid that is and its resources. But just observing from Earth, from an observatory, that's really difficult to do.
Okay, I understand. Well, thank you for telling me all this about asteroid mining.
Yes.
If someday
I
in the
think-
future I like get the resources or
right,
like
right.
uh, I mean, I will try to vote for anyone who şey, advocates for asteroid mining.
Yeah.
But like, like I am sold on the idea. It's
Definitely.
it is like the next step in human
Space exploration.
not just space exploration.
Yeah.
I mean, just like general technological
Definitely,
advancement. Well, thank you for this insightful conversation.
Yeah, thank you. It was a really good conversation. Hopefully our viewers were interested in asteroid mining as well. Maybe I also want to share like a 3D design of the spacecraft I envisioned. It's a pretty simple device, but still. I wrote an essay about it too. I want to make a presentation video on that too. So thanks everyone. Thanks Emrullah, and have a great day everyone.